When you have a destiny to fulfill, not everything is your fight. This video is about refining what has your attention. In this life, you are part of a divine plan. Each of us is. And each of us has a role that only we can fulfill. And although we're not sure what this role is, the way that we become more equipped to serve the role and to serve humanity is by the lessons that come into our life. So anything that happens, any conflict that you experience, any hardship that you experience, anything that causes you to grow and learn and be a fuller person and take that fuller expression into the world, this is part of your soul growth. This is the point. What Pushya Nakshatra serves to do is bring into conscious awareness those techniques that will take you where your desired outcome is, thus where your destiny is, what your work in this world is. Pushya Nakshatra is considered especially auspicious in beginning any endeavor. It is especially favored with spiritual endeavors. Pushya is exalted in Jupiter, which wants us to expand, and is ruled by Saturn, which helps us to focus. Pushya Nakshatra is about helping you grow. Symbols associated with it are a cow's udder, a woman's breast, and a flower. The udder and the breast are nourishment through milk, and the flower is the blossoming, the growth of one's spiritual aspirations. The very simple question for this moon phase is the relationships around you, the work that you do, the people you surround yourself with, the activities you embark upon. How do these nourish you? Okay, so first things first, you are not for everyone. The past several cycles have been bringing out the disparity between what you're trying to do in this life, you trying to be your fullest expression, your most honest expression of yourself, and how that rubs against the people close to you, and how that erodes on the values that you've held. So you've been faced with very uncomfortable truths. You've been faced with storms, with clearing. It's been this under the ground energy, this storm energy, this like what's left after the hurricane energy. Okay, so to set everything in context, the energy now is like walking out of the dark woods and you're walking into the clearing and you're seeing all the space that's available. Some people call the psychic space the field. So the clearing, the field. Now you can walk in to what you're ready to walk into. Maybe you've noticed that your dream life is a little bit different now. Perhaps your energy is coming more online. Your intuition is coming more online. Your abilities are coming more online. Because you no longer have to deal with what was in those woods, because you no longer have to deal with what Pluto's been showing you. You're not quite finished with it. We're still walking through it, but we're not in the depths of it any longer. There aren't any more surprises at this point. You know what you know. And with that knowledge, what's in front of you, that's the opportunity. Pushya Nakshatra is about sacrifice. And it's about sacrificing because we have a goal to reach. And this goal is our spiritual expression. But more specifically, it's what we are bringing into the world. It is through sacrifice of certain things that we are able to bring spiritual energy into the world. How does God enter into the world? God doesn't show up because, again, God's not a person. God is not a personified anything. The will of the divine occurs in the world because we, as people, bring it into the world. And that's what Pushya Nakshatra is about, the creation of spiritual energy in the world. The sacrifice takes place because to live such a life and to devote our time and attention to spiritual endeavors means that we are choosing some things and sacrificing others. The deity of Vishnu is associated with Pushya, and Vishnu is organization. So you come out from these dark woods, and now you have this clearing in front of you. You have the ability to create and to organize. And so Pushya, in essence, because it's bringing the divine into the world through you, you get your orders, you get your instructions, you get a clearer indication of what it is you're supposed to be doing. But it doesn't come free. It's again, this Jupiter and Saturn. You grow because you have restricted and focused your energy. So on the part of the nakshatra, on the part of the energy, it's seeking to expand you, but the responsibility that you have is clearing the way so that that expansion can occur. All right, so just having a look at this chart, two major things to notice. The first, if you're new to astrology, blue lines are harmonious and red lines are discordant. The second thing to notice is, look where the moon is. It's transitioning from second to third house. Look where the sun and Saturn are, transitioning from 8th to 9th house. So it's this transitioning. And then even in the 11th house, you have the nakshatra transitioning. So everything is just about moving to the next direction. It's right on the edge, right? So like right on the edge of that clearing, right on the edge of action, right on the edge of the deepness of our contemplation and the darkness of what our path has been so far. We're right on the edge of the light and the place that we've been moving toward. Okay, so the moon, it's moving from the second house to the third house. Second house is your esteem and how you establish your esteem in the world. What you have to show for what you've done. This is what worldly esteem is. But you see it's transitioning from the second house to the third house. And the third house has to do with taking in new information. It has to do with how you think about things. It has to do with how you communicate things. So you're coming from a place of your internal esteem and maybe how others regard you, and noticing how other people regard you and on what basis they hold you in esteem or do not hold you in esteem. That's the internal. And now we're moving to the external expression. So what you're doing with that and how you're going to communicate who you are now. The next transition, Saturn moving from 8th to 9th house. 8th house has to do with the depths of your transformation. It has to do with the past. It's ruled by Pluto and Mars, which is all about going through the depths and then seeing what you'll do with it. Once you've looked at the darkness of everything, what action you're going to take, what transformation you're going to make. So we're coming out of the 8th house and then we're going into the 9th house. And the 9th house is refined thinking. It's actually opposite the third. The third house is taking in new information, but the 9th house is doing something much higher with it. It's the refining of it. The 11th house has to do with technology. And here we have the Uranus and Mars. Mars is action, drive, initiation, really wanting to do something. And Uranus is, it's sudden change, but Uranus always has the drive for utopia. Uranus is trying to make it better. And so it's sudden change because it's really looking to clear things up. But it will do so quickly and in a way that is not necessarily comfortable for you, but it will do it quickly. And the point, again, is utopia. Uranus is trying to work for the best possible outcome. So you have the moon, you have the mentality, you're deciding what you want to do. Then you have the sun, your soul expression in Capricorn, the form that expression will take, going from the internal depths to the 9th house, which is you're going to put it into some form, some practice, some devotion, some ritual, some learning, but you're going to do something with it. And then 11th house, the energy with which it will come about. Let's talk a little bit more about the 11th house. Technology in the Vedic sense isn't technology like computers. Technology is magic, and it's magical rituals. It is the way that magic is used to change sub-levels of reality. How you think about something has an effect on how you feel about something. And then how you feel about something has an effect on your entire reality. This is the realm of magic. So how we think about something, how we feel about something changes the reality itself. Another story now about Brihaspati. Indra was holding court. So imagine dancers, music, beautiful spectacle, everybody there to admire Indra. Brihaspati walks in. Brihaspati is the guru of the gods, not an insignificant presence. Indra does not notice. Indra is very taken up with his own self-importance. He's the king. He doesn't even notice the energetic presence that has just come into the room with him. Brihaspati is dissatisfied with this and leaves. Indra also doesn't notice when he left. So, while enjoying the worldly pleasures, Indra was oblivious to the strength of the energetic presence that was there with him. He was oblivious to the fact that the all-knowing, the guru of the gods, was in his presence. Something we can take from this. In examining Venus and Pluto, our relationships, what has our attention. The lack of acknowledgement, the lack of reciprocal respect that you're subjected to is detrimental to your spiritual life, because your spiritual life, in essence, is magic, is working at the emotional level, is working at the mental level. This is how the energetics work. A very basic level. Have you ever been angry and tried to meditate? Doesn't work. Have you ever really been jealous and tried to do an energy healing? Doesn't work. Have you ever been really angry and tried to do a reading for somebody? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that. The energy and your mentality and your emotional state are all intricately tied. So if you are walking into situations where somebody, I'm not saying that somebody needs to hold you in higher regard. What I am saying is that somebody needs to respect you, the same as you respect them. And regardless of whether your spiritual beliefs are what their spiritual beliefs are, you have a mutual respect for one another. Sometimes our compassion overtakes us. Our Venus overtakes us. Venus just wants to love. And so Venus just wants to love indiscriminately. Pluto's saying it's time to stop that shit. When we talk about love, there are different expressions of love. The way that a narcissist loves you is poison. The way that an abuser loves you is abusively. So when we say love, what are the characteristics that are involved with that love? Is there a dignity attached to it? Is there a respect attached to it? Do you feel enriched by being in someone else's presence? Do you feel nourished by being in that situation? Pushya is about nourishment. And so as we step forward into the readings, it's going to be looking at what is nourishing you. And the situations which are not nourishing you, but are depleting you, these are the ones you've seen enough. So like they have to go. They have to go if you want them to go. But make no mistake about it. You can't be around people who deplete you mentally and emotionally and maintain the energetic capability of bringing divine will into the world. You can do anything you want, but if you are trying to walk your spiritual path with the utmost integrity, the relationships which do not respect that integrity and do not respect you and do not nourish you are not ones that belong in your field. Let's stick on Venus and Pluto for a minute. Typically, astrologers are going to tell you that Venus has to do with your money and your romantic relationships. True, but let's expand that definition. Venus is what has your attention. Venus is what attracts you. Venus is what you like. Venus is what you pay attention to. And this is critical because you only have so much attention to pay. Notice the language. You pay attention. When you're really tired, you say, I'm spent. You've given it all. Energy is finite. And when you're talking about bringing divine energy into the world, that energy is precious. So again, let's come back to Venus. What has your attention may not necessarily be what you like. Fourth house roots have been a prominent theme for the past few cycles. So say you are in a situation with family members who are just not on board with you. They don't dig your path. There's not a way that you're going to find connection. There's not a way that you're going to find reconciliation. You might be the only one who's bothered by it. And what you do, you think about it. You put emotion into it. You put your thought into it. So you see? Your mental energy being expended. Your emotional energy being expended. Anytime you put energy into something that doesn't matter, you've thrown it away. You've tossed it aside when you could have used it for something productive. And this is both the dynamic of Venus and Pluto saying, what are you paying attention to and why are you paying attention to this? And then the Saturn and Jupiter, if you want to have a more prosperous spiritual path, if you want to be more productive in this area, why are you throwing away your energy? You need it over here. It's the same thing with anything you consume through the senses. I'm talking about news, I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about politics, I'm talking about arguments. Where are you directing your energy? What are you paying attention to? Because whatever has your attention is what you are paying attention to. That is what you're paying your energy into. And whatever you're paying it into, you're not paying it into your spiritual path. Focus. And when we focus, our devotion becomes mastery. Again, you can do anything you want, but be cognizant of where you are investing your energy. Like, your energy is your resource. So that's where you are investing your time. That's where you are investing your emotion. That's where you are investing your mentality. Make sure where you are investing yourself is in the path that will move you forward. It's in a direction that will get you where you want to go. This is what Pushya Nakshatra is about. It's about concentrated sacrifice, focus to get you where you need to go. This path does not lead you where you want to go. This path does not lead you where you want to go. This path leads you where you want to go. And because you have the experience, and because you have the knowledge, and because you've been doing the work, those situations which do not serve your path, which do not serve your higher good, which do not respect you, which deplete your emotional and mental state, which interferes with your energetic abilities, thus which interferes with your ability to bring the divine will into the world, because you've done the work, because you've done the critical examination, because you've done the self-reflection, you can let those go. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. This full moon is occurring in your 9th house, and your 9th house has to do with expansion. It has to do with how you travel in your mind, and how you travel to places. So it's long distance travel. Also, it has to do with higher learning, higher education, expansion of the mind through religion and through spirituality. And this full moon is asking you to look at what of those 9th house elements, what do you find nourishing? What makes you feel like you? Whatever does, do more of them. So it's asking you to find those elements and nourish yourself more, because that will help you the most right now. What doesn't nourish you, be finished with it. So in terms of things that don't nourish you, check out your 4th house. Your 4th house has to do with your origins, your roots, your origins, like your place of origin, where you're from, like where you grew up. But it also is home and like what you call home, what's close to you, maybe who you live with, your mom, those things that are in such close proximity to you, whether it's emotional proximity or physical proximity. This is where your Venus-Pluto element is taking place. So the Venus is like, it's like what takes up your attention and what you're giving your time to. Because you may like it, but you may not like it. Like you're still paying it attention, you see? And Pluto's asking you to have a look at what relationships you're having, what conversations you're having, what topics you're discussing, like what is taking your time. Like nothing actually takes your time, you pay your time, you pay your attention, you give your time. So where is your time being allotted to things that don't fill you back up, that don't contribute anything to you? And Pluto is saying whatever doesn't contribute to you, whatever doesn't give back to you, cut it out now. Cut it off now. Because anytime you're spending time here, what you're not doing is spending time here, bringing the divine energy into the world, which is what you were trying to do on your spiritual path. Even in a mundane sense, imagine if you have some goal to achieve, if your energy, and by energy I mean your time, your attention, is diverted in several different places, you will never reach where you're trying to get because your attention is not focused. So have a look at your home and what's depleting your attention right now. Anything that doesn't give back, anything that you are giving yourself of, but isn't returning back to you, cut it, be done. Then, 9th house stuff. What expands you? What makes you feel like you? What nourishes you? What makes you feel complete? What makes you feel like you woke up after a nice long sleep? What makes you feel like you just had a great big meal? What nourishes you? What activities? What thoughts? What thought patterns? Go to those. Go to those and make them part of your life. Jupiter is looking to expand you in your 11th house. And your 11th house has to do with your networks. Now, networks on a global scale, big networks. It's your friends, the people you hang out with by association, your hopes and wishes, but like the big things that you are looking to accomplish. So Jupiter's looking to give you more authority, more power, a voice, a bigger voice. What's going to help you with the bigger voice, right? So like, how do we help Jupiter? The thoughts that expand your mind will contribute when your voice is bigger, will contribute to you having a bigger voice. So that will help you, the ninth house, right? And then the fourth house, the stuff that depletes you, that will continue to deplete you. Even if you get a bigger voice, it will still pull at you. The things, the people, the conversations, the things energetically that are closest to you that pull on your mental energy, that pull on your emotional energy, they deplete you. It's like you only have so much bandwidth. You only have so much to work with. And if you have stuff like, it's like you have a cut and your energy is leaking. It's like a sieve. Energy gets through. So everything you need to focus on having that bigger platform that you've been working on and that Jupiter's trying to get for you, you have to do your part by cleaning out what no longer serves you. And what that is are things that deplete your energy and things which do not nourish you. So in conclusion, some thoughts. You're not for everyone. And all the time you spend trying to convince others that you belong there is time you could have spent doing something else. Weight of the world. Boundaries. Let it go. This is not your story. If you are in a position where you are constantly not respected, not nourished, misunderstood, nobody's trying to understand you, if you're in one of these situations, not every battle is yours. Not every fight is yours. Not every burden is yours to carry. Let it go. Sometimes harder than letting a situation go is letting go the attachment to what we thought the situation should be, what those people were supposed to have meant to us, what relationship we were supposed to have, because the world told us that we were supposed to have that relationship. If it's not going that way, look at the evidence in front of you. Check out the energetic evidence within you. Let it go. Water your garden. Nourishment, body care, rest. The past few weeks, you may have noticed emotional turmoil. A wiry feeling, maybe being exhausted, maybe your non-waking life was very active, maybe your energies are coming online now. Physically, in addition to the exhaustion, perhaps you've been purging in different things. And that's good, because that means you've been doing the work. Because with emotional and mental purging comes physical purging. So if you've been sick, or if you've been having, if your body's been acting in weird purging ways, good, let it go. Big picture thinking. These pillars keep coming up on cards I pull. There's a saying, small people talk about people, but don't you talk about people. You talk about big picture thinking. You are standing at the precipice of the future. You are receiving your divine marching orders. You are seeing what it is that you are supposed to be building in the world. And this moment didn't just arrive. This moment has been something that you are working toward. You have been working toward. You've suffered toward it. You have so much invested in right now. And everything that's coming, you deserve it. We the Hathors. Hathor, Egyptian goddess, symbolized by a cow. So deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. What you are creating, what you are organizing, what you are bringing into being, you are birthing something. And all the time that you've spent trying to convince the people who talk about people, the people who talk about things that you're not interested in, when you're done with that, you can direct all your attention back here, creating what you love to do in the first place, what you're good at doing in the first place, what you're meant to be doing in the first place. So for this full moon, if you were ever going to do a ritual, if you wanted to do a clearing ritual, this is a great full moon to do it. And so here are some things to help. The metal with astrological correspondence to the moon, silver. So use something silver. Moon is associated with water, so you can use water for your ritual, symbolically washing things away. If you're working with having more structure, that's Saturn, use lead. If you want to work with Jupiter, use tin. If you want to work with your Venus, copper. These are just suggestions. You can also look up stones or other items that have astrological correspondence. Or, alternatively, don't use anything because you don't need any of it. What you need is your intention. What you need is your clear energy. So if you take anything from this video, take this. Anything that impedes upon your clear energy and your good intention, get rid of that. Anything that doesn't nourish you, get rid of that. Because the most important thing, if you are bringing divine will into the world, is that your vessel is clear. So that's clear of distress, that's clear of questioning, that's clear of ridiculous conversations you shouldn't be in. Clear. This is what the full moon is about.